hoping to cover some important things today in this live. Thank you. We already got some questions coming in. I hope in good faith, but it's been kind of a rough week, y'all, over on Feminist TikTok. So we're going to talk about practicing discernment in feminist spaces, because I just can't help but feel like it's not really a coincidence that I've been on this side of TikTok for years now, multiple, and have never seen this type of thing break out until a certain individual showed up in our space. So discernment entails 5 things. And these are just things that I've sort of learned as I've gone along. And this is how I sort of vet other feminist creators, or this especially applies to men, but obviously we know that some women are still male-centered, patriarchy-centered, or they're very self-centered, and so all of these things will apply. Now, I already have a comment in here asking me if I'm married. Let's get that out of the way. Yes, I'm married. I've been married for 13 years. I got married young, and my husband is the biggest supporter of this content. So, Abby, I don't know. I love your content. Abby Eckel says, how are people still confused about how 2 things can be true at once? I don't know. I literally don't know. And I think it's just a lack of critical thinking. And I do think that this type of content is kind of like a conveyor belt. I very much support women that have chosen to physically decenter men, to the point where they're literally like, I will not be around a man. And that's it. That's what it is. Full 4B. I support that movement. I get it. My only problem when it comes to people who hear about that movement and then kind of run with it is that they start disparaging other creators who are in relationships or married that cover this type of content, which I think is extremely crazy. I think it's extremely short-sighted, and I think that it's really, when you look around, it shouldn't be a surprise to y'all that most of the people that make this type of content are married. And it's because of our close, and it's because that we have had these relationships with men, and because we have done the work of decentering men, that this is why we can have these relationships and speak on it at the same time. Cleopatra, yes, I have seen the videos that she's making about me. I think it's very interesting that she's using me being married to attack me, I think, and saying that I'm clearly promoting the patriarchy and stuff, when she was definitely supporting the patriarchy up until a week ago. You know what I'm saying? And then for anyone that is calling, especially the fact that she's calling Cecilia, Regina, and I mean girls, and her little followers are in the comments here being literally mean to me. Being literally calling me a pick-me-sha in here. So yeah, don't worry, guys. She's just uniting women. We love you, Cecilia. Cecilia's in the chat. Yep. And Cecilia says, exactly. People say that having or not having a man can define a woman's activism. They're centering men. Absolutely. Men do not center us. You know what I mean? And they can still be married to us. So it's really not, it's really not the flex that y'all think it is to be you are not physically decentering men. Y'all realize you have to share the planet with men too. The end goal is to learn to decenter men to their face. You can remove yourself from the presence of men, and I completely respect that. I completely support that. But there are those of us out here that realize we have to continue sharing planet Earth with these people, and that is what it is. I will be making more Love Island content. There's just more important things to cover right now. And I just think it's funny that people literally thought that for some reason I would have the back of a random person. Y'all need to understand, this is literally a random person that just showed up in this space a couple months ago and has created this mess and is reveling in it. Y'all need to understand that Cecilia, Regina, and I have each made about one, maybe 2 videos about her. I didn't even make videos calling her out directly. She reposted, thanks Retro, she reposted the video that I made about the situation with her as if she wasn't part of the problem. And now she's acting like she wasn't in in the comment section of every single one of my videos, like supporting me and like hyping me up. And now she's literally saying that like I'm not worth listening to because I don't decenter men like physically and because I'm married, which is crazy. Yeah, exactly. So Mario says they think decentering men means never talking to any man ever again and not an internal shift. Yeah, I think that's how a lot of women see it. And like I said, I would never not support a woman who is like, no, I literally don't want to be around men. Like, I'm decentering men, like physically and in every way, like mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever. I just know that I support you. I do. I just don't think you have to physically decenter men to decenter men in your life. To me, at least, the ultimate goal is to be able to exist and share a planet with these people while decentering them mentally, which is what they do to us. Once again, this is just that reminder. This is what they do to us. This isn't anything new. A lot of bullies in these comments. I just think it's really funny how, like, I don't delete or block y'all, and she's deleted and blocked absolutely everybody. Thank you, Miss Mar. She's deleted and blocked absolutely everybody who has criticized her. I'm actually wouldn't be surprised if like her follower count has gone down just because of that. Like, that's crazy. You guys should go watch her live with Princella today. I hope that y'all hear some enlightening things in there. I hope that she, this is why I'm kind of like, I'm just trying to put y'all on because I need y'all to think about the fact that this whole thing, literally, like, so Cecilia Regina, Melanie Hamlet, Therese, the Sovereign Woman, me, Red Lipstick Talks, Queen Sovereign, Yellow Chick, all of these people, all of us, Jamila Bradley, MJ Gray, all of these observations with my eyes. Thank you. I already said MJ. All of us have existed in this space somehow for years now. For years now. Burb and Bougie, thank you. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot Burb. I love Burb. Burb and Bougie, all of us have been in this space, sharing this space peacefully, nicely, supporting one another, even calling each other out sometimes, right? With absolutely no beef like this has ever happened. Like in like over the year that I've been here, over the 2 years that Cecilia Regina's been here, this type of thing has never ever happened before. So y'all need to think about that. The fact that, somebody shows up and then just thrives off of like literally dividing us. Because I've seen the videos that she's been posting. And first of all, I think it's really embarrassing because they're not hitting the way that she thinks they're hitting, right? She had this video she made about me that had gotten like 20K views and had like 200 or something likes on it. Like, that's embarrassing. That's a 0.01 like rate. So you know that people are not vibing with that content. Yeah, her video about me is evil. I would agree with that. And I think she's giving the biggest mean girl energy that I've seen because I called her out very demure, very nicely. She reposted it as if she wasn't part of the problem. And then she is proceeding to have made like 40 more videos literally calling Cecilia Regina like Regina from Mean Girls and like making very like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like disparaging type content. Black Peppa, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for modding. So this is why I want to, and about Ukrainians, like she is at this point, like absolutely, I'm sorry, but she's gone off the rails. And to everybody saying, but you're married. Guys, has been known. Like I don't hide the fact that I'm married. I don't hide the fact that my husband is my number one supporter of this content. You can marry and date men without centering them. It just means that you wouldn't change anything about your life for a man. And it does not mean that you're the exception. I talk about this often. I never say that I'm the exception. That's why I don't rely on my man to like take care of me. I make my own money. I always have. I have savings accounts in my name. I have retirement accounts in my name. And so we don't believe in exceptionalism over here. We don't believe in marriage exceptionalism or anything like that. I'm a huge proponent of divorce. I will tell anybody to get divorced, myself included, if they're not happy, if they're not getting what they need from the marriage. I don't assume that I've been picked. I don't assume that I have any sort of like, that's what decentering men while being married looks like. So just so y'all know, right? It's just not putting all of your eggs in that one basket. My basket is the only one I put eggs in, right? So let's talk about practicing discernment in feminist spaces. Like I said, a lot of y'all that are just in here to troll, please know that you are doing the thing that you're claiming all of this was started over, and that you're claiming that Cecilia, Regina, and I are doing. You are dividing women. CEEEC says, what's the difference? Wouldn't you still be hurt / affected if he turned on you? No, that's the thing. Like, his approval, like his male approval, doesn't mean anything to me unless he is bringing something to my life, unless there is a benefit in it for me. So no, I wouldn't be hurt. I would be relieved that a man who doesn't want me is no longer in my house. Like, what the fuck? Like, some of y'all's brains are fucking broken. You know what I mean? Like, y'all picture this thing where if anything happened between us where it like didn't work out, I'd fall to my knees and cry, why, God, why? I did everything for this man. I gave up everything for this man. Like, why? Why would you punish me? And now he's not picking me, and now he doesn't love me. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Do you not understand some women are grossed out by that? Do you not understand that literally would give me the ick immediately? What the fuck? And then y'all are not concerned about somebody else's literal racism. Literally, you're more concerned about me being married than somebody using terms like illegals. Rosa Parks was an op. Those were her words, mind you. I've never said anything about flawed villain that wasn't her own words. I've never even insinuated anything about her that she didn't say herself. So y'all can think whatever you want about me being married. I really don't give a fuck. Don't listen to me. Like, if you don't think I'm a credible source because I'm married, don't listen to me. Like, look, I'm literally teaching you how to practice discernment in feminist spaces. Okay. So if my content was about, I have a husband and here's how you get a husband, that would be me being married and centering men and teaching women to center men. Do you understand? So that's what that would be. If I were married and I was like, ladies, you know, these men out here suck, but I found a good one. Here's how you find a good one. Do I make that kind of content? Go ahead, answer me in the comments. Go ahead, do I make that kind of content? Exactly. So none of these creators have ever said there's anything wrong with being married. Yes, they have. Go to Flawed Villain's page right now and look at her videos that she's made about me. Okay, so let me teach you. These are general things. So first of all, the first thing that I put down for my list is content type, production, and longevity. Okay. I didn't expect anyone to take me seriously in this space until I had been around for a little while. And I made sure to like do the work regarding all that. I made sure to connect with other creators. I made sure to basically like structure my presence here in terms of longevity, right? I wanted to be here, not for a good time, but for a long time, right? So I very specifically didn't like come on here to make like inflammatory content, to make content that just like sells or goes viral. Like, I have no respect for that, right? That's why, like, and a lot of people have insinuated like, well, if white women are blowing up, like, why isn't YV blowing up? Da da da. I don't care for blowing up. I don't want to blow up. I want to have a community. I want to have an intentional community. I don't want anybody in my community that can't get on board with a thoughtful, like, long commentary about something. So like, y'all are in here. The reason that like my followers are my followers, right, is because they were able to stick around through that. Like, my content is kind of boring. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm surprised I have the amount of followers that I have, because I don't really like do any gimmicks to like present my content. I just get on here and I turn on the camera and I sit down at my little table and I yap. I used to sit on my bed and yap, you know? And so I've really have been here to sort of like, to one, like, help women, but I'm just absolutely like not interested in making like short term gains type of content. Okay. And thanks for all of those that are saying that it's not boring. I just mean like a lot of people have insinuated that that's like why my content's like not blowing up. I know what my content is. I know what I do. I know how I present my content, and it's not meant to go viral. It's supposed to be sustainable. Exactly, Krista. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. It's supposed to be sustainable. It's supposed to be just about the message, you know? And I do a lot of research. And the other thing is, I would never post 20 videos a day. I do a lot of research for my videos. I make sure I have like studies to back things up. I don't talk about like aliens and deny evolution and talk about conspiracy theories, because that's not what I want my content to be. And that is not the kind of content that I want to attract an audience with. Okay, so all of y'all that are in here to question the legitimacy of my content, like, you can go look at my content. It is clearly not made to go viral in any way. Like, it is what it is. Sometimes I try to use like an opening, like a catchy opening line, but that's about the extent of it. When you're producing so many videos, when you're producing so much content, like, y'all have to realize you're not stopping to like think, process, research, all that kind of stuff. It has to be quality over quantity, right? Because it's so easy to get lost in your own sauce. Okay. And it is very disorienting then, like, once you're lost in your own sauce, to try and like see yourself objectively, to try and see yourself in the context, right? Because this person is acting like they fell out of a coconut tree, right? But it's like, you exist in the context of everything that came before you. You exist in the context of this whole feminist space. You exist in the context of the women who frankly ran so that the rest of us could walk. Okay, like Cecilia Regina. Cecilia Regina broke the mold of TikTok, broke the mold of like typical TikTok content. And so for somebody to say that her faceless content doesn't do well, it's like, well, you really must not have been here when her faceless content was absolutely dominating the algorithm. So, you know, it is very insulting. If you think Cecilia is overrated, like, I don't know why any of y'all are here. Cecilia birthed me, actually. She doesn't know, but yeah, about 33 years ago. Like, I will never side with some weird rando over Cecilia Regina, who's been here for years doing the good work. Her content will always be unmatched, will never be beaten, will never be outdone. And yeah, that's Dr. Cecilia to us. That's Dr. Cecilia Regina. So yeah, there's just no chance. There's absolutely no chance I was ever gonna side with anybody else in any of this. She has a book coming out. Please support her Patreon. I just signed up. I shared her on our Patreon, The Audacity, if y'all are having trouble finding her. So, okay. And the last part of my first point is content type. People are in here saying they're going to screen record this and send this to her. That's the best part, is like, y'all can do that all you want. I know what I stand for, and that's kind of the thing. Like, I just know she's mad right now because none of her little followers have been able to scrub through my page and find the same type of dirt on me, because I haven't said anything bad about her. I haven't said anything that can be used like to discredit me like that. And so the only thing they have is, oh, she's married, but she talks about decentering men. Go ahead. That's what I'm saying. Is like, when your content like switches up so quickly, right, to where you're like, no, women this, women that, but then you're like, Ivy fucking sucks, Cecilia Regina fucking sucks, like, they're mean girls, like, da 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 da. So what was your content ever really about, right? Like, what was it ever really about? Because I'm not going to dedicate half my page, right, to trying to take this woman down. I'm trying to teach y'all how to be discerning in feminist spaces. Okay. So the type of content that some people make is intentionally inflammatory, is intentionally like short-sighted, and is intentionally like mean in a way that makes people feel like they're part of something. And what's weird is that she actually says this in her deleted video that she made about Cecilia Regina. She says, I do all this, I respond to comments because that makes y'all feel like I care about you. That makes y'all feel like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very calculated. Like, the whole thing is very, very calculated. And so take that for what you will. Didn't I say something negative about her pole dancing videos, though? Go to her page. You can see exactly what I said about her pole dancing videos. I just said she's making weird thirst trappy edits, calling herself the main character when we don't stand for main character energy in this space. You can definitely be a main character, like in your own life, in your own mind, whatever. But when it comes to uniting women, you're not going to do that by being the main character. That's not what we're here to do. I'm sorry. That's not the kind of energy. And it was bizarre. It's just inflammatory, right? It's like, oh, look at me, like, whatever. We're looking. We're looking. That's fine. And the other thing that and I love pole dancing. Like, I'm literally about to sign up for a studio, like, to try it out. I don't care. Like, she tried to insinuate that I was gonna, like, say something about her being a, SW or a stripper or something. I don't care. I think that's great. I think pole dancing is great. I think, and like, honestly, I was like, she looks amazing. Like, that shit looks amazing. It's just an inappropriate way to respond to criticism of like how you're dealing with one of the OG creators in a space that you're trying to like be part of. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna work. That's like a weird thing to do. So I want to talk to y'all about the other thing that I think she has done really well, and I think that's easy to kind of fall for, is Miranda, these are important topics. Practicing discernment in feminist spaces is very, very important because this is how women actually get divided, right? We platform the wrong person and then they divide us, right? That's what happens. And a lot of people are like, oh, the feminists are fighting. Like, I love to see it. Like, the girls are fighting. I don't give a fuck. I will absolutely. That's where I think it is hard to be a creator in this space because women are the only ones that ever practice critical thinking on this planet. And so it is hard. It's hard. You put a lot of women who all have critical thinking skills, together. Yeah, shit pops off. You know what I mean? You have to have good critical thinking skills, right? So let me talk to y'all about critical thinking skills. What's going to happen with some of these creators that are really in it for God knows what, but it's not to unite women? I'm not going to make insinuations about why she's here. That's something that I'm going to leave up to her to do. She's been very good at insinuating things about me, Cecilia, Regina, other people. But what I will say is when somebody responds to criticisms and things like that with really culty speech, like, I'm just here as a mirror, I'm just telling the truth, they just hate me because I speak the truth. Like, y'all realize I could come out there and make a bunch of videos like that too. I just don't. It's just easy. It's like rage bait engagement. It's very narcissistic. Like, it's dark triad characteristics, right? So you have to watch out for these like self-grandiose signs of self-grandiosity, self-aggrandizement or whatever. Women actually hold people accountable. Most men can't fathom standing up to other men. That's why it's like I'll never be offended when men or like haters are like, oh, the feminists are fighting. Yeah, leave us alone. Like, we'll get to the bottom of it. Don't fucking worry. We'll figure it out like we always do, and we'll be all right. So in one of her like very latest videos, literally somebody said Ivy and Cecilia Regina never stood a chance against you because you have dark triad characteristics or whatever. And the comment was left by a man and she responded to it and was like, I don't even remember what she said, but she was basically like, yeah, I'm here to like start a fire. So dark triad characteristics are characteristics of I'll read y'all the definition: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. That's narcissism. Machiavellianism involves manipulation, strategic thinking, which she is very big on. Like, she says all this stuff openly, okay? And a cynical view of others, often leading to exploitation for personal gain, which again, I'm not using anything but her own words to criticize her, but she has said that if this doesn't work out, I'll just go find another rich man. That sounds like exploitation for personal gain. And dark, exactly, Gemma. Dark triad often tell on themselves if you listen long enough. And they often attract a very rabid, very short term thinking oriented audience, which is where I realized I don't want to have any overlap with this woman. Okay. I hope y'all are screen recording. I hope you do. Anyways, psychopathy involves a lack of empathy, remorse, and conscience, along with impulsivity and antisocial behavior. So y'all tell me, all I have done is read you the breakdown of each trait as far as narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. I make no further comment other than that. But you tell me. But you tell me. Once again, inflated sense of self-importance, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. Once again, manipulation, strategic thinking, cynical view of others, exploitation for personal gain. Lack of empathy, remorse, and conscience, along with impulsivity and antisocial behavior. 20 videos a day sounds impulsive, okay? In engaging in all of this like Joker type energy and like this main character type energy, that's inflated self-importance, a need for admiration, manipulation, all of that. I have no problem with her thirst trap videos. I really don't. I just think that it was being made in response to like somebody saying you stole from Cecilia Regina, and she made a thirst trap edit in response to that. Super weird. Chargy, that's cute. Says, at least I woke up to your voice this morning because I forgot to set a podcast timer. That's so funny. We're not talking about anyone in particular, y'all. I just want to make sure that we are practicing discernment as far as whom we are following on these platforms. And in fact, I don't even care who you follow. I just want you to practice discernment, because these people are scary. These people will mobilize, others against others, like women against women, right? She was called in. She was called, to actually unite with women. And she has literally started an entire smear campaign against myself and Cecilia Regina in response to that, in response to her own words, which she still hasn't addressed, by the way, in response to the allegations that she still hasn't addressed, in response to the racist comments that she's left and liked and all that, and is now claiming it was AI, is now claiming Cecilia Regina literally called this. She said this was going to happen. Yeah, and my first video was really nice. I always start out nice. I always start out like assuming that people have the best intentions, assuming that people are, also here to help. I'm like, hey, you just might want to know. And I came at it like so many people are defending her for being Balkan. And I'm like, I'm literally fucking Ukrainian. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's Balkan. So what? So what? So many white women come here to the US from other countries and they literally think that intersectionality does not apply to them. And it does, because now you live in a place where intersectionality matters. Also, intersectionality is not just about Black people or Black women. It's also about disabled people, it's about trans people. It's about members of the LGBTQ community. Like, it's not about that. It's not about just, but yes, assimilating to whiteness is absolutely a thing. And then like not fact checking your fucking conspiracy theories and spreading lies, like literal lies, being like, Rosa Parks was an operative. MLK Jr. was an operative. Yeah, Cecilia Regina is like a mean girl, and she's Regina George, and I can't even bring myself to say it. Yeah, bringing race wars into it, talking about race wars, calling people illegal. Illegal, mind you, she's a fucking immigrant. Like, I can't. And it's like, I don't care if we ever, like, I don't care if this is considered like anti-feminist of me. I don't give a two flying fucks. You are the alt-right pipeline, and plenty of women are, and I call them out too. And I will continue calling them out. Yeah, defending Doge, like, this is white woman behavior. And this is exactly why people don't like white women. And I get that. And that's why I do the work to educate myself. And like, I do the work to like know these things. And there's still so much I don't know. Like, I was on this live with Cecilia and she said some things and I was like, damn, I thought I did my deep dive, and I literally need to find out. I literally need to do more because the things that have been done in this country are unconscionable and crazy. And yeah, plenty of alt-right people try to infiltrate the feminist space because they do realize that men don't like them. They do. It's just really funny to me to talk about how, like, I'm supporting the patriarchy and stuff like that. Meanwhile, you're literally out here like, why are you guys mad at Orange Man? Oh my God, I'm gonna try not to fangirl. Kat, I love you. She says, the way my jaw stayed in place when I saw those clips. I know. And it's really like a lot of women in my comments, like on my latest video where I called her out, were like, damn, I fell for it. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I was mutuals with her, y'all. Don't feel bad. Like, it's support women until the women are MAGA. Like, it's support women until, you know what I mean? Until it turns out that they're not actually educated and are willing to spread disinformation just to seem cool and edgy and just to like appeal to, you know, like a very rabid audience. And that is what her audience has proven to be. Like I said, I am not in here. Like, if y'all go to her comment section or even my comment section, there is proof. Like, women are literally in there being like, you blocked me or she blocked me. And all that kind of stuff because she's out here blocking people that disagree with her. I haven't blocked a single person on any, and in fact, I like leave those comments up. In fact, I go into my like filtered comments or whatever, and I put the mean ones up. I do. So I block rude men, but I do think that like I'm also all for Black women blocking anyone that disturbs their peace. So if you're complaining about Cecilia Regina blocking you, tough titties. That's her page. She has the right to block people. And she's been through fucking enough, okay? She's not the one that's only been here for like 2 months and is already acting like people are attacking her. She's been here for years and she's been attacked like consistently and constantly. So for her to be fed up with y'all, I'm totally here for it. And I don't care. That's not to say that that should be like a standard, like for everybody to do it. Oh, you are not who I thought you were. Oh, I'm so sorry. You wanted me, yeah, I'm sure you wanted me to be somebody else, like, but I'm not gonna support somebody like preaching literal white supremacy on here. We're not gonna do that. If you go into my comment section on my videos, I do not block people, even people who strongly disagree with me. There's been somebody in my comments actually for years calling me out, and she was actually in my last live saying like, yeah, like we've disagreed a lot and you've never blocked me. And so, yeah, I don't block people. But I will block you if you're spamming in this live because I need to be able to see the comments that are here in good faith. So, hey, self-growth journey. Yeah, because that was me. Everyone is free to block people, like for mental like health. Also, I want to say that the kind of like annoyances I experience from people are not rooted in like, you know, racism or anything like that, right? So to me, it's kind of like no water off of my back, right? But being a Black woman, it's like I can only imagine the kind of like blocking might be necessary. You know what I mean? Being a woman of color, totally support that. Okay, so let's move on. We've already talked about dark triad characteristics, main character energy. So I've already touched on this a little bit, but this whole like the main character syndrome that this person has and other people might have in feminist spaces. Once again, it feels like I'm calling out one certain person because the rest of us don't fucking act like this. Like, I don't know how else to explain this to you, but like, we just don't act like this. And so that main character energy thing is just not helpful in this space because eventually you will get lost in your own sauce. Like, that's all that tells me is that you are very prone to falling for your own bullshit and doubling down and like being really bad at taking criticism. And so when people have this like whole persona centered around like everybody hates me because I'm the main character or whatever. Yeah, that has never worked out well for me, right? Like being friends with people like that or like supporting people like that. because at the end of the day, they're willing to throw away and discard anyone who is not on board with their narrative. And trust me, any of y'all that still follow this person, eventually she will say something that upsets you too, because they're saying things for views. They're saying things like to inflame things, right? Eventually they're going to say something stupid and you're going to try to call them out and they're just going to block you and delete your comment. And that's how they're going to do you, because that, you were cheering them on while they were doing that to everybody else, but you thought they were going to do you differently, but they never will. That's the thing with like narcissists, is that how they treat everybody else is exactly how they're going to treat you, which is exactly why I refuse and I have no desire to exhibit the same kind of behavior as certain other people do on their page, because I don't believe that I'm the main character. I don't believe that I'm beyond getting called out. I don't believe that everybody's out here to get me, because I know for a fact that they're not. And there's actually nothing more misogynistic than spreading around this rhetoric of like, the women are out to get me. They're so jealous of me and like da 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 da. Yeah, we all need to be together. So why is there a person literally making hate videos of me and hate edits? And the only thing, mind you, I'll say this once again, I know she's mad because she cannot go through my page and find the same kind of hot takes, because I've never had them and I've never said them. And when have had bad hot takes, like my hot take about Shira 7, I ate crow on that multiple times and I called myself out. And I like deleted those other videos, but I made sure to like address them. I stitched in the clips from those other videos and called myself the fuck out. And I've done that multiple times and I will do it again, because I'm not above or beyond criticism. But some people act like anytime they're criticized is because there's this grand conspiracy theory against them. Who does that sound like? Who does that remind you of? The radical left. Yeah. No, it reminds me of the orange man. Yeah, exactly. Self-growth journey. Yeah, it reminds me of men, and very specifically powerful orange men that this person has come out in basically defense of. So yeah, that's that main character energy. That's that main character like inability to be perceived as anything other than perfect. It's like the smear campaigns that start coming out. Woe is me energy, I'm always the victim, stuff like that. So that's what starts coming out. Watch these people, right? And if you that's my thing, is like that's the other reason why I've never made that type of content, or like been tempted to make that type of content, because I know it does well on the FYP. People very much love to live vicariously through other creators, and I really wanted to have a certain type of audience, because I spent a lot of time on TikTok just observing first, and I have seen people rise and fall. I have seen, I tried to learn from other people's mistakes, and I made it very much a point to be like, I don't want to make inflammatory content. I don't want to make the type of content that's going to attract a lot of rabid, angry people to my page, because it takes very little for those same angry, rabid people to turn on the same creators. Yeah, it's me. Amy says, I'm not going to be ignorant for the sake of unity in any movements that look down on marginalized people. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. All right. So number 4, practicing discernment in feminist spaces. So we've talked about number 1 was content type, production, and longevity. Number 2 was dark triad characteristics. These are just things you want to look out for. This is not me putting all this on somebody. This is me literally saying, like, before you follow me or anybody else, watch out for these things, okay? This applies to me too. This applies to Cecilia Regina, right? This is the lens that I use to filter out like people that I do and don't trust in this space, right? Myself included. And I very much hold myself to these standards, because anytime that I feel like, because as she's been like doing this like smear campaign, as Flawed Villain has been doing the smear campaign, it's been it's been kind of hard wanting to respond back in like a similar way. You know what I mean? Like it's like people don't realize how much I hold back. People don't realize how much I like sleep on things and like just don't post, like even when I really, really want to, even when I have a really, really funny ideas on how to make somebody look really stupid and like whatever. But I practice what I preach, right? I don't want to make inflammatory content. I don't want to spread inflammatory content. I don't want to have a rabid ass audience. And so I don't do these things. So number 4, the things that you want to look out for in the creators that you follow, especially in this space, is denial, defensiveness, and gaslighting. So just to point out some things from this like most recent, just using it as an example, but there's definitely been denial that like, oh, it's AI. Oh, this is like people are making this stuff up when there's screenshots, there's screen recordings. If you go to Jody's page, and she has found all of these comments that they were on her page. So it's not AI, it's not Photoshop, whatever, but it is denial. Then there's defensiveness, right? So that's not really what I said. I said this, and now everybody's hung up on like figuring out the little details, right? And then there's gaslighting. So now that actual like hard evidence has come out of you saying things like illegals, of you saying Rosa Parks is an op, MLK Jr. is an op, they're being used to stoke the race wars, whatever. Now there's gaslighting going on in the form of like shifting blame and like trying to shift the spotlight onto other creators using whatever you can as fodder, right? But you're married, so you can't decenter men. Oh, Cecilia Regina sounds like she's recording a voiceover in a closet. Like, that's gaslighting. I just hope y'all know. Her story, yes, Dolphin, her story keeps changing. And that's the gaslighting. Yeah, weaponizing, exactly. So weaponizing spirituality is a great form of gaslighting. I'm the divine feminine exposing the truth, that kind of stuff. Thanks, Pub. Public offenders in here. Thanks, y'all. And all of this is, I'm sure, something, I really should have put this little list behind me. Yeah, so there's a lot of spiritual bypassing and like, oh, I'm just a mirror. Oh, I'm just here to start the fire. That kind of stuff. Like, again, we could all be out here saying these things because they sound nice, and it once again, what she's doing is trying to make her audience believe that they're living vicariously through her. What I want my audience to be is thoughtful people that are interested in the sociology and the breakdown of the patriarchy in practical and attainable and sustainable ways, right? We can all come out here and spin around on camera talking about how we're the main character, talking about how we're the fire and we're the mirror and we're all that. And it would do nothing because it doesn't practically accomplish anything. It's not thoughtful ultimately. It's just like parroting what you think is going to get people all jacked up. Jan, you seriously, and like if y'all ever need any proof that I don't block people unless they're being like extremely spammy, just look at Jan. Jan hasn't been blocked. Jan is in every live. Jan fucking trolls in here like it's their motherfucking job. And here I am, and I still, every once in a while they'll ask a good question, and I'll be like, you know what? Okay, Jan, let's fucking talk about it. So, Jan, you can't tell other women to practice 4B while being married to a man. Am I wrong? You're wrong. I can and I do. I also, I believe that certain stages of like feminism it's like a conveyor belt. This is something that Tonya TKO said in my comments the other day. She said it's like a conveyor belt. I'm like okay that my content like no longer applies to some people. Some people, there used to be like certain women that were always in my comments, and then like little by little they kind of stop showing up in the comments because now the content has been integrated and they're on to other things, which is exactly what I'm here for. I'm just here as the conveyor belt on women's way to like centering themselves, right? And there's certain steps you're going to be on this conveyor belt, right? And we're swimming against the stream. We're swimming upstream. And there's steps on that conveyor belt that we all have to do, right? Like decenter men. That's kind of the first step. Or even before that, you have to realize there's a problem. You have to realize the patriarchy exists. You have to realize, there's something wrong here, right? And then you start like realizing what all is going on, and you start realizing the need to like decenter men. So then you're on the decenter men part. Then you're on the center yourself part. Now you're out of the feminist content like sphere, and now you're just on your own. You've integrated everything, and you don't need to like keep going back to this content. I'm okay with that. I love that for you. You know what I mean? I understand my content is kind of like just one of the steps on the ladder, and I'm happy. I'm happy to be doing it. And for all you weirdos asking, aren't you married? Yes, I am. It's not a secret. I've been married for a long time. Decentering men does not equal 4B. 4B is a very specific and very intentional movement. Yeah, exactly. Precious Thing says, I'm a mother and still support child-free women. Exactly. 4B is not the only way to decenter. People get married for more reasons than just love, too. Yeah, thank you, Jojo. I completely blew your message and content out of proportion. Yeah. Yes, D. Even women that don't date men have to decenter men. Exactly. Exactly. Like, seriously, ask people in the LGBTQ community, like, if they need to decenter men, or ask, like, the whole 4B movement is for that. It is to decenter men. It's just to, like, it's just at some point, it needs to be a physical decentering. That's what it is. And for some people, it's not that. Like, you are supposed to come out the other side of these things, like knowing, being like solid in yourself, and not, hopefully, not needing to physically be separated from men just to be able to decenter them, right? It's easy to decenter men when they're physically not in your orbit. But a lot of us, yes, like Lily said, they hate being decentered. I work with all men and they hate that I pull back my energy. Exactly. But you have to be able to decenter them to their face, right? Yeah, decentering men is living your life focused on you with or without them. Exactly. That's how I live my life. I don't want kids. We don't have kids. I'm never going to have kids because I want to center myself. My husband supports me doing this. He's the biggest supporter of this content. He makes sure every day that I'm literally set up to do all this. Like this morning, he literally woke up and cleaned the house so that I would just be able to get on here and do this. And because he knows I have a show to record today, like he walked the dogs this morning so I don't have to. Like, how are y'all going to be like, oh, you're over here centering men? Like, he centers me and I center me. And he believes that that's how we invert the patriarchy, right? He's like, unless we balance the scales, I will always come out on top. So he tries to balance the scales the other way around and actually center me more than he feels like is societally encouraged. Does that make sense? So, I mean, y'all can tell me if I'm centering men by being married, but like, okay. Yeah, and it is honestly, it's very intrusive, and it's very like, I fucking hate talking about my relationship like this because it would have to be, it's like, I can't fit 13 years into a 5-minute explanation, right? I can't fit like the entirety of a marriage or a relationship inside of like me answering a question on a live. Like, even if I sat here for 13 years and tried to tell you, about our relationship. And that's the thing, too, is like any women, the thing that really gets me about Flawed Villain making these videos about me being married is it's like, so you're not even as far along as I thought in your own decentering men journey. Because if you truly believe that you cannot be in the physical presence of a man without centering them, that says more about you than it does about me. I can, but the fact that you can't picture it at all that's what tells me that you haven't decentered men to that point yet. See? It's projection. Oftentimes people tell on themselves by projecting. So a lot of times when women tell me like, oh, well, you can't decenter men because you're married, I'm like, no, you can't decenter men. You can't. It's very easy for people to say things because it's rooted in something on the inside. We can only ever project. That's why I try to educate myself so that even if I am projecting, it's not just from my own perspective, right? Yeah, feminism does not equal misandry. Most of y'all in the comments are not getting that part. I wouldn't even say that. I think misandry's fine. Like, that's totally fine. And I don't really care. Like, I think women can take feminism as far as they want. I just don't think it's your place to tell other women, right? And I think it's funny because she was like, in the same video that she made about me being married and how that's disingenuous, she was literally started addressing her working at a club, right? Her working as a spicy dancer, and was like, and yeah, I did do that, but that was my choice. And I was like, see how you get it when it comes to you? See how it's okay to like center the patriarchy when it comes to you? See how it's okay to center men when you do it because you chose it and because you thought? See how that's okay? Blue-eyed blonde, which yeah, I don't know why you guys can't just get along. I like you both. I will not get along with a bigot. Like it's like oil and water, right? I don't get along with narcissists. I don't get along with people on the dark triad because I repel them. And so I don't. She's a bigot. She's a racist. Like she called people illegal. I in fact like when this whole thing first came out, I called her out very very nicely, very demurely. I didn't even call her out by name. I said, you know, the worst thing we can do is make this about a single white woman and like pile on whatever. But then she came after Cecilia Regina. And then all this stuff came out about her. All of her actual views came out. And that's when I was like, blocked. You're first of all you're not gonna get on Cecilia Regina's TikTok, right? Be friends with all of her mutuals, right? Gain from this community that has lifted you up, literally lifted you up. I was out here like reposting her videos, like hyping her up, all this stuff until this came out. White women are not safe just because they're women. Exactly. They have to understand more than just women versus men, whatever. Okay, so number 5 on the list is point out flaws of others but refuse to self-reflect. So I have kind of touched on this already, like in the video that she made about me being married. She, in the same vein, was like, oh yeah, and a lot of people would say that I wasn't decentering men when I was working at the club, but that was my choice. I chose to do that because da da da, and there's that, you know, there's the justification. So there is no self-awareness, right? Even if she were to say like, and I get it, you know, because I worked at the club or whatever. But no, she wants to make other people look like the villain, right? While actually positioning herself as the victim. And what's really funny is that she can deny the stuff all she wants, but that's her saying it. That's her in the flesh saying it. And once again, a Black woman did all of that work to expose her. And she's just mad, you know? And it's like, babe, don't be mad. We are just giving you credit for your own words. We're just crediting your work the way that we wish you would credit other people's work. We're just setting an example. You know what I mean? Because it's important that people know what you actually believe and how you actually rebranded your grift from one thing to another. I think that's very important to point out. Somebody asked, how am I unpacking my whiteness? I have a whole playlist on my page called Deconstructing Whiteness where you can learn more about that. I stand on what I talk about. I do. I have a whole Goodreads list where you can find a lot of books on decentering whiteness and unpacking whiteness. I credit and support Black creators and other creators in my space, but especially Black creators. Unpack versus deconstruction, I don't know that there's a difference. Just semantics. Thank you, Jojo. And once again, when women act like we are dividing women by asking white women to like be intersectional, you know what I mean? You're telling on yourself. If you feel like that would divide us, or if you feel like people are somehow like doing that to punish you, like people are asking you to be intersectional and it feels like punishment to you or it feels like division to you, I have seen what I needed to see. Do you know what I mean? Like I've seen what I needed to see and I don't actually care about you. Yeah, racism, classism, transphobia, that's what divides us exactly. So am I a liberal feminist? I don't know what any of these terms mean anymore. I just know that I stand for women. I stand for the liberation of all women versus empowerment. It's me, Lolo says, just want to stop by to say thank you. Thank you, Lolo. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. I stand for the liberation of all women, and I stand for like us actually uniting, and that starts with white women. Black women are always on board of our issues, you know? Black women support, Black women voted for Kamala 92%. Black women literally carve out spaces for white women to like come and just take over. Black women have always led these movements, and white women just jump on. Yeah, because they're not blinded by privilege. Absolutely. Thank you, Honey. Honey says, loved your pyramid drawing about intersectionality. It helped me a lot. I actually got that concept from my friend Jace Mercutio, and I have like lots of videos about that. But the way he explains it is also great. He's a trans man. If y'all don't follow him, he's at Diversity Dream. Let me see if I can put that in the chat. Comment. He's at Diversity Dreams on all platforms and like really does amazing educational work. Like the way that he puts things into perspective, it's like very, very clear. Like he just has a very obviously has it an amazing understanding of all the systems and the intersections because he's Black, he's trans, he's gay, and he's disabled. Thank you, Giselle. That's so sweet. Hey Sharon. Hey y'all. Yeah, I'm just on here getting ready to record the podcast. I'm gonna have to go in like about 10 minutes, but yeah, I just wanted to hop on here because we are recording an episode on intersectionality today. Somebody in here asked if I'm okay. I'm okay. I actually have never felt more at peace or better about like where I've landed on an issue. I get horrible vibes from this person, just absolutely vile. And so I've never gotten that from Cecilia Regina. She has always been a strong supporter of other women. She has always been like on all of our side. And so I'm definitely not gonna like abandon the person who is the reason why I'm here, you know, for some random person that just like infiltrated our space and has like benefited and profited off of Black women. And then just to be like, I'm the main character, like, okay, go off. Like I have no interest in being part of that. Like you can be the main character all by yourself. I'm good. I'm not the main character. I've never claimed to be. I do not appreciate that kind of energy in this space. I don't think we're going anywhere. I think that's white woman energy, right? Always being the main character when you're not even the fucking main character. Like men are the main character. So, is Cecilia doing okay? I think she's hanging in there. She was in here earlier. She, you know, was sending love and support, and I just so appreciate her. I actually like the only reason I was on her live the other night was because her live kept like glitching and muting for everybody. And she saw me in the live and she goes, let me try something. And literally, like, as soon as I got up there, and especially once I turned on my video, it stopped glitching all of a sudden. It stopped muting all of a sudden. And so I stayed in there as long as I possibly could until I was like basically falling asleep. And that was just on like totally on a whim. She was like, I've never actually had anybody up on my lives before. And I was like, okay, hold on, let me just throw up real quick and then I'll get on there. But we had like we weren't just talking about flawed villain the whole time either. Like we were literally just in there chopping it up about all kinds of things. Dre says, what's the difference between saying you're centering yourself and saying you're the main character of your life? I don't think that flawed villain is saying that she's the main character of her life. I think she's saying she's the main character, period. And she's the main character like in this space when she literally just showed up here about couple months ago. It's very cocky and like unnecessary energy because we have literally all been here like in a circle, you know, supporting each other. So to put yourself in the middle of that circle and start spinning around and calling yourself the main character is just not it. Like I don't care. It's just not what we do here. So you're going to get respectfully like the circle is going to like separate, move and leave you spinning around your room alone. Do you know what I mean? Like that is what it is. It's like you're doing too much. This is not a movement for people who are the main character. There's so much that you can do to be the main character of your own life. Yes, but when you come into a space where like women are trying to do something together, then no. And yeah, we did welcome her very graciously. I think everybody was in such support. Me, Cecilia, MJ was putting her on, Sovereign Woman was putting her on. We like literally had to cut a shout out from our podcast. We were hyping her up on our podcast last week with Cindy, and our producer literally had to work overtime this weekend to take that shit out because I do not stand with her at all anymore. Jan says you can still get divorced and fight alongside the women against us. Why would I need to get divorced? Like, I'm literally doing that already. Why would I need to get divorced? What would what would me being divorced add to this situation? Tell me. I'm just wondering, like, okay, getting married super young before your frontal lobe is developed and giving advice to decenter men is so what? Y'all think my frontal lobe stopped forming when I got married? Like, usually when people's frontal lobe forms while they're married and the marriage is bad, it makes them realize that the marriage is bad and they leave, hopefully, or they stay for some other reasons. There's plenty of women on this app that are married unsuccessfully and they still do good work of like talking about it and like showing them going through the process and showing them going through like divorce and stuff like that. So it's all a learning experience. It's all good for women to learn, for all women to learn. What's so funny is that this is the only thing she will ever have on me. This is the only thing y'all will ever have on me. Oh, you're married, but you talk about decentering men. All y'all will ever have on me. So go ahead. Yeah, it's like, yeah, she's hoping that y'all will overlook her actual bigotry and her actual, like, really fucking weird behavior and just gang up on me for being married. Like, go ahead. Go ahead. If the worst thing that happens to me is I lose some section of my audience that is like the rabid little freaks that overlaps with her audience and are in here like trolling and stuff like that, I am actually like helped by that. Like, please unfollow me. I actually don't want you anywhere near me because the moment that you could, y'all would have turned on me anyways. So I don't care. I don't make content for you. If you have a problem with me being married while decentering men, I don't make content for you. You're not there yet, right? You're not there yet. You don't get it yet. My marriage is not my content. Exactly. Thank you, precious things. If I was out here making couples content, if my husband was in my videos, if I was giving him a platform, then y'all could talk about me not decentering men. Then y'all could say whatever you want. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Wait, no, I just lost a comment. Hold on. Zariah Star says, one thing women won't understand, relationships with men are better after decentering them. That's what a lot of people don't understand, is that it is decentering men is exactly the filter that is going to help you weed out the men that are like bad for you. That's all it is. Because you're like, I don't need to have a man in my life just because he's a man. Right? I would only have a man in my life if he made my life better, if he, was like helping me, if he actually likes me, loves me, whatever, if he shows that with his actions, if he's not expecting me to center him. It's just one of those things. Yeah, I won't tolerate a man that centers himself. Like, I wish I could tell y'all, like, there's so many things that I want to tell y'all that, but I don't, precisely because I don't want you to center men. Because that's why I don't say things like, oh, well, these were like the green flags. Like, I'll talk about that, but I'll say these are not foolproof. These are not, and I haven't talked about that in a while, right? And that's why I don't, because it's not good to center men. It's not good to center men in any way, like even the good men, even the exceptional men. Guess what? Even if you do that, and I said this on my live with Cecilia Regina, even if you do that, even if my husband, say I had like a crystal ball and where I could only see how the trajectory like of our relationship or of our love would go and not actually the life events, right? If the crystal ball told me like all things considered, like with everything that would happen, your husband will like love you until the day that you unalive, and then he will unalive like a day later, and he will never have loved anybody else. He will always have like kissed the ground you walk on, worship the ground you walk on, all of that stuff. In my mind, I would still be like, but that man could still get hit by a bus tomorrow. Like, y'all don't even understand how practical like I think about these things, because he could get hit by a bus tomorrow. and I still need to have my own money, income, all that. I would never depend on him, and I would never allow him to be centered in my life to that point. That's why I work on myself all the time too, is because I want to be able to weather like actual life. Like I don't want to depend on a man to be like my comfort, my what is that called when you like yes, codependency. Thank you, feral girl. Yes, I don't want to be like codependent, right? I've seen so much like content from women who are like, I was married and then my husband like unalived, and the way that they're so like broken and lost, and the way that they oftentimes like people that suffer like tragedy in their marriage, they run straight to another marriage. Right? And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. You know what I mean? Like I look at that and I always think to myself, how can I avoid that, right? So I work on myself. Yeah, I don't want to lose my identity into the midst of being married. Rody says, did your husband have to change a lot when you started learning more about feminism? I had to change a lot because my husband has always treated me like an equal, and I was always confused why he did that because I didn't expect that in marriage. And so I was like, wait, so you mean we were like Christian and stuff, like we were very churched, both of us growing up. So we met in the church and we like got married as part of all that. And I am a very binary person, and it's taken a lot for me to like bring a lot of nuance into my life and not be like extremist about things, which is another reason, like another discernment to have in feminist spaces is like extremism, because usually that's a right wing pipeline. So I used to be extremist in the sense of like, if I'm going to have this belief, I want to see how far I can take it. And church is actually the thing that taught me not to do that, because our church was very much into the whole concept of like male leadership and stuff like that. And I was like, well, did I marry the right man or not? Like, is he going to lead me or not? And again, like I will call myself out for being a pick me, right? And this is what I've learned in my marriage and that I can share with other women. And my husband would fight me and anybody else tooth and nail on that. Tooth and nail. Be like, no, I don't want to lead you. Why would I lead you? Like, where am I going to lead you? Are you a horse? Are you an animal? Why am I leading you? Why am I getting to have the last word? Why would I do that? And no matter how many times people would try to explain it to him, well, it's just the Bible says that, and like God just says that. And he's like, no. And it took me a minute to like really get on board with that, because I really was like, oh, is he just like avoiding accountability? Is he just avoiding responsibility? And at the end of the day, like he's never done that. And like I just had to check myself on that. And then because of that, I started deconstructing like everything about religion and everything about feminism, or like the whole like feminine like gender roles and everything like that. And that's what led me here. So no, he didn't actually have to change a lot. I did. Iana says, have you ever argued with him? I mean, absolutely. We argue. We have our own baggage, you know what I mean? We have our own insecurities that are, when you're in a marriage, it's like there's two mirrors. Ideally, you are reflecting the other person back to them with love and with all that. But sometimes it's a little bit like you're being reflected. Like you need to look at yourself a little bit. I was not LDS. I was just in the Reformed baptism, like corner of things. Vile place to be. It's a vile, vile place. But you know what brought me there? Funny enough, there was a pastor who was like shitting on men. Like the dude was like literally like men are losers, men suck, all they do is sit around play video games, like they need to be leaders, they need to be whatever. And that's what I fell for. I was like, this is a good man. This is a good man right here. Because I tried dating and I was like, this is a nightmare out here. And that's when I decided I'm not going to get married, because I was like, this is what most men are like, And when my husband started like wanting to date me, I was just very like, I mean, unless this is like the easiest thing ever falls into my lap, you never do anything wrong. And that's why I'm still here today. What's his mom like? How do I explain this? She decentered the idea of like traditional motherhood, I think, really well for him. So she was not the like helicopter mom. She wasn't like cleaning, cooking, all that kind of stuff all the time. That was like all his dad. And she was very ambitious, very like career oriented. And so, yeah, I just don't think he ever saw like women serving men. Like, legitimately, because I think it goes as far as, like, his grandmother, his aunts, like, all of his whole family's very matriarchal. Like, the women there, like, seriously do not serve men. Like, that's the best way I can explain it. So it just makes sense that he's always been, like, right in the head. Precious things, don't beat yourself up. It is really hard to raise a good man, and it's harder still because peer pressure is so strong and nobody is really immune to it. But that's the thing that, oh, sorry, y'all, I just got cut off by a comment in Ukrainian. Okay, sorry. I hope you can understand English because my Ukrainian is like really bad. But a lot of women have internalized misogyny and a crab in a bucket mentality. No, you're okay. I can understand the Ukrainian. I just don't. My speaking is really bad. Like, I can barely speak Russian even at this point. I was trying to talk to my dad the other day and I was like, I'm forgetting all these words. Yeah, so I think a lot of women have internalized misogyny and ideas about what other women should be. And so they hate on you because of that. Yeah, people think Slavic women are submissive, but mine and most families around are more matriarchal. Even if there is like a patriarch in the family, everybody knows who the boss really is. Unless the man is like psychopathic, narcissistic, and abusive, like they usually don't run the household in like Slavic families. It's the moms. Yeah, somebody said if like the feminists don't date men or like the misandrists don't date men, like how are we ever supposed to like whip men into shape? Like, how are they ever gonna know what the expectations are? Like, we're just supposed to let pick me's date them? Like, they're just only gonna get worse. I'm sorry. Like, men need to have their ass kicked by women who know what they're doing. And some men are even attracted to that. Yeah. Some people genuinely believe that decentering men means that you can't be in a relationship. And that tells me that they're not ready to make content about decentering men. And that's why their takes are bad. That's all. Like, I don't know. There's just something about it. Anyways, y'all, I gotta go get dressed and get to the studio to record the podcast. We're covering a lot of things today. We're going to talk about all the political stuff going on. So we're gonna have like an extra long tea time. And then we're gonna talk about the importance of intersectional feminism. But yeah, so just remember for discernment, content type, number one, production longevity. Number two, watch for dark triad characteristics. Number three, watch for main character energy. Number four, watch for denial, defensiveness, and gaslighting. And number five, watch out for pointing out the flaws of others, but refusing to self-reflect. All right, and that's it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'll be back on live later this week, and I probably will put this up on YouTube. Love y'all.